Hey guys, this is what a starter looks like. Up in the top left there, you'll see a diagram of a starter broken down. Now in this next picture, in the bottom left-hand corner, you see the solenoid and the full-on starting motor. So this afternoon, I finished all my work in round 1 or so. I was checking with the mechanics to see when they could come fix the truck. They were like, bring it on over to our shop and we'll take a look at it and we'll let you know. And I'm just like, okay. I tell my boss and then I tell my supervisor and I said, give me a few minutes, I'll have this handled for you. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I already know what to do. So, I'll just summarize it. You disconnect the battery so that you are free to disconnect the starter, because the starter is always connected to the power. It just has a solenoid on top that has low power going to it from the key switch to when you turn the key switch, it tells the solenoid, hey, put main power to the starter, and then the actual starter starts turning, and then all the gearing and all the rest of it. And then you have your gear that comes out, hits a flywheel, they link up, and then it starts. Now, I went and just started working. I took a look at it, and I'm like, you know what, let's just get this done. And I had, like, you had my normal uniform, I had grease all the way up my arm, and then all the way up to my shoulder. Like, I needed to have garbage bags over my arms just to get this starter off without getting any grease, without being greased up. Like, it was just everywhere. I walked back into the shop with the starter at the end of the day, and people are like, what have you been doing? Like, what do you think, man? Look at this beast. And it didn't weigh as much as I thought it would. It only weighed about 40 pounds. I was thinking about 50, 60. So, you know what? All good. What else? You know what? Let's show some video and see if I can't jog the memory. So guys, I'm looking at the starter today, and I just see the two bolts as you see there. I see the mechanism on top, and then I see where all the cords are all running. So these are direct power to the battery. There's a solenoid on the ends of them, and then there's this here via solenoid as well. That is basically a switch, a high-powered switch, which is connected to a low-powered switch, as in the starter key. Interesting place for the oil filter. What a pain in the butt. But it doesn't look all that hard. I see the grounding wire up there, and so that'll be the negative, and this has got to be the positive. Okay, that's interesting. Alrighty, well, we're gonna play with this and see what I can't do. So here's the starter motor from the top. Again, positive, there's a negative, and we'll see another bolt in the back there. So, it's kind of, yeah. So, all in all, this is going to be a very dirty process, but it doesn't seem too difficult. But I say that now, I've already doomsayed myself. So I've got the positive side off first. I tend to take the positive off, then I take the negative off. That way, if it does touch anything while I'm taking it off, if it was hooked up, it would just recycle through the truck, being as the negative is still attached. Now, I've got that off, so that means I have 4 more bolts to take off. I've already disconnected the batteries. This is a battery storage box, which holds 3 batteries. As you see, there are no batteries, all disconnected. So the starter is out. This thing weighs a buttload, and this is what I was telling you about. So the gearing mechanism pops out here, that cuts into this, so this spins, and as you can see, it's chipped away. So this thing's poached. Alrighty, so I'm losing daylight, but right there is where the starter motor goes into. and you can see where the engagement gear hits into the flywheel. Now I'm just going to zoom in here, use my other hand, there, and you see right there. So there's the gears that are worn, and on the starter motor you notice that the gears were also worn. So this equals to be a very hard place for that motor to start, because it has to give extra torque to be able to get all of this going. Honestly, engine needs to come out, or sorry, the transmission needs to come off, and that flywheel there needs to be replaced. Alright, so here's another view. You can see that gear is worn. I'm just replacing the bolts so that they don't get lost. But that's the flywheel I spoke of. And let's see. Yeah, and then you have the positive right there, negatives right here. So this is the negative cables, those are the positive cables, all zip tied together so they don't go missing. Just replacing some of the bolts so I don't have to worry about these things. What a pain. But this will save the company some money. I wonder if I can move it by hand. Nope. So I'm just going to move it by hand. And that's what I was talking about. You just use a piece of the pliers and you can move the flywheel by hand and get it past the point where it won't miss. However, it didn't help out in my case, so that's what I'm doing right now. Just got a pair of little wrench and it moves the flywheel. So as you can see, I got the starter motor out, and I must have washed my hands a good 17 times. Yeah. I kept them pretty clean, and right at the end there I decided to put the purple gloves, that are very stylish by the way, right over top, so even though my hands were still dirty, so that the grease would be contained a little bit. Man, that machine is dirty. And then when I took it to the mechanics, because I got it in at the end of the day, they're like, yeah, cool, thanks man, we didn't want to do this job. It's like, why didn't you just say that? Like, it would have costed us easily, like to get a big rig wrecker in to tow the truck, it would have costed us easily $1,000 to get it towed just a couple kilometers away. And literally a 10-minute walk, less than a 3-minute drive maybe, to the shop. So anyways, they don't even do the work themselves. They send it out. And a replacement kit is literally a new engagement gear, new spring, some bearings. You have the brushes for the motor if they are so inclined to change that. And there's probably a few miscellaneous other things that I'm not thinking of, like C-clips and stuff like that, that comprise this entire motor. It's not really a big deal. Like 3 bolts, it comes off. You got 2 bolts on the terminals, which I did say were solenoids. They're actually terminals. And then you have all the miscellaneous stuff. Like, this is not a hard thing. So it kind of frustrates me that they just weren't forward enough to say, hey, do you think you could do it? Like, just take it off, bring it to us, and we'll send it out. Like, they've done similar things for me because I asked. And I guess, like Marino, who I work with and whatnot, he knows me. He knows what my capabilities are, and I can pretty much do anything I need to. Like, I don't have, what do you call it, the diploma or the certificate or the license to be a mechanic, but I can replace your transmission. I can replace your engine. And if you give me a booklet that has all the instructions, I can rebuild either of those things. It's not hard. It's just following instructions and having a little bit of mechanical sense. Like you saw just in the videos there. Like, anybody can do that kind of stuff. Nobody wants to get dirty. And one of the reasons why I'm liked a lot where I work is because I don't care. You got a job, I'm gonna get it done, and we both go home happy. Like it's simple to me. So today when I said, oh, I'll just take a look at it for 5 minutes, I already had it in my head that I was gonna get it done. I did want to, just in case it was gonna be too complicated after I took a serious look at it, I did want a little bit like, oh yeah, it's too much. I did want that cop out just because I've never taken on such a big starter. But it was the easiest one, like one of the easier ones. Like the one of the bolts was hard to get to, and it took me a lot to get to. Like I had the socket, then I had the adapter. Sorry, no, I had the socket plus the extension plus the adapter to the other socket to the wrench. Like it was long, and in my little kit there, it doesn't really have all the special things you need to. Like if I was at home, I can grab my extension, just slap it in there, get it all done. Like not a big deal. Like the first two, I used my impact wrench, and the second one I tried to get the impact wrench in there, and it's like, okay, well that goes to the side, and I guess I got to do this by hand. Funny story. In doing all that, trying to get everything down there, I got a breaker bar and everything on it. I'm like, why isn't this working? And I'm underneath it, so my mind isn't actually translating lefty loosey, righty tighty. I was actually tightening the last bolt. Like I was furiously tightening it. And I'm like, why isn't this going anywhere? And I'm like, you know what? Let's break it down to basics. I broke it down. I took the wrench off. Like I had to click it off so I didn't lose it off the bolt, because that's another pain in the butt. You don't want to, especially in the way it was. And I moved it, and like I'm tightening it. So flipped it around the other way, put it on, put the breaker bar on it. I heard the little, like I can't make the high pitched noise of metal breaking. Like when metal is fused to other metal, and you go to move it, such as like a bolt holding something together, it makes a snapping noise, but a good snapping. So, anyways, once I got all those off, I took a little mallet to it, banged it up, banged it down, slid it off, dropped it down on the rubber mats that I had ready for it, because there was no way I could have like held that down and like not smashed my face or anything like that. And I was wearing safety goggles, and I did have hearing protection. And all in all, it's off. When they get it back, I'll slap it in there, hook up all the terminals, and we're done. We can start the job that I wanted to start Monday. So far it's looking good. And I hope you find this video informative. Maybe some of my anecdotes are funny. I can hope. And if you have any questions, just ask. Because it gives me ideas to make other videos. So, anyways, take care. Be safe. Always wear your protection.